ওয়েলকাম টু ইয়োর ওন চ্যানেল এডুজোন। আমরা খেয়াল করছি যে বেশ কিছুদিন যাবৎ ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের ইংলিশ মিডিয়ামের স্টুডেন্টদের কিছু সমস্যার সম্মুখীন হতে হচ্ছে। বাংলার প্রচুর গাইডবুক থাকলেও ইংলিশ ভার্সনের গাইডবুকের সংখ্যাটা একটু কম। আমরা চেষ্টা করছি আমাদের পক্ষ থেকে যতটা সম্ভব তোমাদের সাহায্য করার। আমরা এই ভিডিওটির মাধ্যমে এই সাবজেক্টের ইয়ারলি এমসিকিউ উত্তর সহ তোমাদের কাছে তুলে ধরার চেষ্টা করেছি। আশা করছি এতে তোমাদের একটু হলেও উপকার হবে। আর যদি তোমাদের এই ভিডিওটি ভালো লাগে অবশ্যই একটা লাইক দিও। আর যদি তোমাদের মনে হয় যে তোমরা এটার থেকে একটু হলেও উপকৃত হয়েছো, তাহলে আমাদের চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করে আমাদের পাশে থেকো। আর তোমাদের সকল বন্ধুবান্ধবদের যারা ইংলিশ মিডিয়ামে পড়ছে ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল বোর্ডে, তাদের সঙ্গে শেয়ার করতে ভুলো না। Today's subject is Political Science, 2015. The elected representatives of the municipalities are called councillors. The normal tenure of the members of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. The Prime Minister of India is appointed by the President. Hereditary ruler can be found in Great Britain. The lower house of the British Parliament is called House of Commons. Who wrote the book Spirit of Laws? Montesquieu. The veto power can be exercised only by the permanent members. The number of permanent members of the Security Council is 5. In which year was the Indo-Pak Shimla Agreement signed? 1972. Who took the initiative to form the NATO? USA. The father of the non-aligned movement was Jawaharlal Nehru. The Second World War started in the year 1939. The upper house of the US legislature is called Senate. The Panchayat Act in West Bengal was passed in the year 1973. If the lamp of justice goes out in darkness, how great is that darkness? It was said by Lord Price. A state having unicameral legislature is China. The administrative head of the Kolkata Municipal Corporation is Mayor. In which year was the Uniting for Peace resolution adopted by the General Assembly? 1950. The total number of the members of the Security Council is 15. The first summit meeting of the SAARC was held in Dhaka. At present, the number of members of SAARC is 8. The Panchshal Agreement was signed between India and China. The term Cold War was first applied by Bernard Baruch. Remember the spelling Bernard Bernard and Baruch. The pronunciation itself is Baruch, কিন্তু এটার স্পেলিং হচ্ছে BARUCH, তাই জন্য এইটা মাথায় রাখবে। 2016. Proxy war is a method used during Cold War. One of the essential principles of non-aligned movement is non-interference. The main country of the unipolar world is America. In which year was the Panchshal Agreement signed? 1954. In 1991, market economy was introduced in India by the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. 123 Agreement was signed in the year 2005. At present, the number of members of UNO is 193. Quasi-legislative body of the UNO is General Assembly. The number of judges of the International Court of Justice is 15. The first Secretary General of the UNO was Trygve Lie. স্পেলিংটা খুব ভালো করে খেয়াল করবে, সেটা হচ্ছে TRYGVE, Trygve Lie or Lee, যেভাবে প্রনাউন্স করো, LIE. Next, who is the chief exponent of the theory of separation of power? Montesquieu. The lower house of the US legislature is called House of Representatives. A second chamber is the essential security for freedom. Who said this? Lord Acton. The US legislature is called Congress. An example of single executive is President of America. Bureaucracy is a permanent executive. The President of India can proclaim dash kinds of emergency. The answer will be 3. The Attorney General of India is appointed by the President. The Union Cabinet remains responsible to the Lok Sabha. How many members are nominated by the President in the Lok Sabha? 12. Panchayat Samiti is the dash tire of the Panchayati Raj system. Second, reservation of seats for SC, ST and women were made in Dash Amendment Act, 73rd Amendment Act. The executive head of the Zilla Parishad is DM. The Municipal Act in West Bengal was passed in the year 1994. 2017. Name of the countries that are related to the Cold War are United States of America and Soviet Union. Cold War came to an end in the year 1991. Bandung Conference was held in 1955. SAARC was established in the year 1985, 8th December. One of the unique features of India's foreign policy is to follow the principles of Panchshil. The author of the book, The Making of the Foreign Policy, is Joseph Frankel. Uniting for Peace resolution was adopted in the General Assembly in 1950. Veto power can be used or exercised by the permanent members of the Security Council. The predecessor organization of the UNO was League of Nations. In 1945, the UNO started its journey with 50 members. Joint session of the Parliament is presided over by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Union ministers are appointed by the President. Money bill is first introduced in Lok Sabha. The total number of the elected members in the West Bengal Assembly is 294. The age of retirement of the judges of the Supreme Court is 65 years. The Consumer Protection Law was passed in 1986. The Lok Adalat was first formed at Junagadh, Gujarat. Kolkata High Court has jurisdiction till or up to Andaman and Nicobar Island. The minimum age for becoming the judge of Supreme Court is no age bar. Who is the chief of the corporation bureaucracy? Commissioner. Reservation of seats for SC, ST and women were made in 73rd Amendment Act in the year 1992. Who is the promoter of the development of the block? BDO. The Calcutta Municipal Corporation Act was passed in 1980. 2018. Panchayat Samiti is the second tier of the Panchayati Raj. The elected representatives of the municipalities are called councillors. Who calls the first meeting of the Gram Panchayat? BDO. The mayor of Kolkata Municipal Corporation is elected for 5 years. The upper house of the state legislature is Legislative Council. The maximum number of members of the Rajya Sabha is 250. The first Vice President of India was Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Who is the leader of the Council of Ministers? Prime Minister. Parliament is a plaything. Who said this? Benito Mussolini. Who supported bicameralism? J.S. Mill. A second chamber is the essential security for freedom. Who said this? Lord Acton. If the lamp of justice goes out in darkness, how great is that darkness? Who said this? Lord Bryce. An example of plural executive is Switzerland. Adoption of separation of powers is found in USA. At present, the number of members of the General Assembly is 93. How many articles are there in UN Charter? 111. The total number of members of the Security Council is 15. The first Secretary General of the UNO was Trygve Lie or Lai. In which year was the Panchshil Agreement signed? 1954, 29th of April. The first summit meeting of SAARC was held at Dhaka. In which year was the Indo-Pak Shimla Agreement signed? 1972. Who took the initiative to form the Warsaw Pact? Soviet Union. The Belgrade Conference was held in 1961. The term Cold War was first applied by Bernard Baruch. 2019. The total number of wards of Kolkata Municipal Corporation is 144. In West Bengal, the first Panchayat election was held in the year 1978. Lok Adalat was first formed in West Bengal in the year 1987. The Consumer Protection Law was passed in the year 1986. The Supreme Court in the Union has more power than any Supreme Court in any part of the world. This was stated by AKIR. A joint session of Parliament is presided over by the Speaker. The tenure of the judges of the International Court of Justice is 9 years. The United Nations Organization was established in the year 1945, 24th October. In 1991, market economy was introduced in India by the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. The first President of India was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The Cold War came to an end in the year 1991. Cold War was described as hot peace by Barnett. Who presides over the meeting of the Panchayat Samiti? Sabhapati. By which article High Court can issue writs? Article 226. Supreme Court has which kind of jurisdiction? Original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction and advisory jurisdiction. Money bill is first introduced in the Lok Sabha. The Dash acts as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Vice President. The term of non-permanent members of the Security Council is 2 years. Uniting for Peace resolution was adopted in the General Assembly in the year 1950. Sino-Indian border conflict was held in the year 1962. 123 agreement was signed in the year 2005. NATO was formed in the year 1949, 4th April. The self-government of the small cities are managed by the municipality. 2020. A three-tier Panchayat Act was passed in the year 1973. An elected member of the Kolkata Municipal Corporation is called councillor. Which type of emergency has not been proclaimed in India till date? Financial emergency. Who said governor is a bird in a golden cage? Sarojini Naidu. Who supported unicameralism? Lasky. If the lamp of justice goes out in darkness, how great is that darkness? Was said by Lord Bryce. The number of permanent member of the Security Council is 5. The Secretary General of the UNO is selected by the General Assembly on the recommendation of the Security Council. The answer is General Assembly. A foreign policy is a systematic statement of deliberately selected national interests. This was said by F.H. Hartman. The headquarters of SAARC is situated in Kathmandu. Who took the initiative to form the Warsaw Pact? Soviet Union. The term Cold War was first used by Bernard Baruch. Every Gram Panchayat is composed of 5 to 30 members. The executive officer of the Zilla Parishad is Sabhapati. What is the minimum age for becoming a member of Legislative Assembly? 25 years. The Union Cabinet remains responsible to the Lok Sabha. An example of plural executive is Switzerland. If the higher chamber agrees with the lower, it is useless. If it disagrees, it is dangerous. It was said by Abesius. The upper chamber of the legislature acts as the highest court of appeal in USA. Who said the General Assembly is a conference of diplomats? Austin. How many parts of the members of ECOSOC retire in every year? 1/3. The Marshall Plan was implemented in the year 1947. The Panchshil Agreement was signed between India and China. 2022. In which year was the West Bengal Panchayat Act passed? 1973. Reservation of seats for SC, ST and women were made in 73rd Constitution Amendment Act in the year 1993. The tenure of Gram Panchayat is 5 years. The power of judicial review is executed by the Supreme Court. The Consumer Protection Law was passed in the year 1986. The judges of High Court can remain in the office till the age of 62 years. In the matter of finance, who has been given greater significance in the matter of two houses? Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha has the maximum strength of dash members, 250 members. The tenure of members of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. The first president of India is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The leader of Union Council of Minister is Prime Minister. The book Spirit of Laws was first published in the year 1748. The lower house of the legislature of United States of America is House of Representatives. The supporter of bicameralism is J.S. Mill. Remember two names as well, Gettel and Lord Price. Next, national interest is the sum total of national values. Who said this? Joseph Frankl. Who is the author of the book Politics Among Nations? Hans J. Morgenthau. Treaty of Westphalia was signed in the year 1648. Who presides over the meeting of Panchayat Samiti? Sabhapati. The self-government of small cities are managed by the municipality. How many judges are there in Supreme Court of India? 31. Who presides over the joint seating of both houses of parliament? Speaker. In West Bengal State Legislative Assembly, the number of elected members or representatives is 294. Who acts as the chairman of Rajya Sabha? Vice President. The discretionary power is given by the Constitution of India to the governor. The minimum age criteria for the post of president in India is 35 years. Hereditary executive is found in which country? Great Britain. Who said that parliament is a plaything? Benito Mussolini. The author of the book Hind Swaraj is M.K. Gandhi. Unity and struggle of opposites belongs to which theory? Marxism. 2023. Proxy war is a method used during Cold War. The first non-aligned summit conference took place in Belgrade. SALT I was signed in the year 1972, May 26th. The Panchsheel Agreement was signed in the year 1954, 29th April. The first summit meeting of SAARC was held at Dhaka, Bangladesh. 123 Agreement was signed in the year 2005. এটা 123 এগ্রিমেন্টও বলা হয়, তারপর 123 এগ্রিমেন্টও বলা হয়। The Uniting for Peace Resolution was adopted by the United Nations on 3rd November 1950. The first Secretary General of the UNO was Trygve Lie. The Charter of the UN was adopted in San Francisco Conference. Adoption of separation of power is found in USA. Bureaucracy is a permanent executive. A second chamber is an essential security for freedom. Who said this? Lord Acton. An example of plural executive is Switzerland. Who supported bicameralism? J.S. Mill. If the lamp of justice goes out in darkness, that darkness is very great. Who said this? Lord Bryce or James Bryce. যে কোনো কিছুই আসতে পারে, দুটোই সেম। Governor is a bird in a golden cage. Who said this? Sarojini Naidu. The method of counting of votes for election of president is quota. Q-U-O-T-A. Next. Who acts as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha? Vice President. The time which is meant by 0 hour is from 12 noon to 1 p.m. The administrative head of the Zilla Parishad is Sabhadhipati. The total number of wards of Kolkata Municipal Corporation is 144. Which is the first municipal corporation of West Bengal? Kolkata Municipal Corporation. The three-tier Panchayat Act was passed in the year 1973.